This is Paul Basir, General Manager of PredictionMachine.com, back again with our fourth video, this time on what you can find on the Data tab, most notably with the recently released Trend Finder tool. As you can see, I've got the Data tab highlighted here. You can see the options, most of which we'll go through briefly in a few minutes. We want to focus on the Trend Finder. It's very important for us to be as honest and as open and transparent as we possibly can about our performance. And this tool will allow users and us alike to view any of that performance at any time. We're launching with the NFL and college football for the 2011 season. We'll be adding sports as those sports are start to generate going forward. As you can see here, you're able to search performance on a straight up against the spread and over/under basis. By default, the option is going to allow you to see all three of those at one time. If you'd like to only look at straight up against the spread or over/under performance under certain circumstances, ignoring those options is possible. We'll run a few general metrics here to show you exactly how it looks before we start to change some of the criteria. Without changing anything, you can see that if you've got it selected for the NFL, for any week for the season, any team obviously, and with no restrictions on the against the spread straight up or over/under performance or what our picks might have been at the time or what the lines might have said, and search, you will return the information below in the bottom of the screen as to how we've looked so far straight up against the spread and over/under in every game. Now, changing some of those options will allow you to see other things. If you want to look and see exactly how we did in weeks 1 through 3, you can do that. Leave that for any. But if you want to look at just how we performed in games involving the Baltimore Ravens, you can do that as well. Those options are fairly straightforward and obvious in terms of what you can do. Let's focus more, though, on the actual straight up against the spread and over/under options. Straight up, you can decide whether or not you want to look at the games in which the actual favorite, as noted by the Vegas line, is the home team or the away team. Or our predicted favorite, which is if we're predicting the home team or the away team to win, or if we're specifically predicting an underdog to win outright. That would be the upset watch option. For a predicted straight-up percentage favorite, this is again from our numbers. Did we say that the favorite had between a 50 and 55% chance to win? And how were we in games along those lines? Searching this option will allow us to see, without ignoring the against the spread and over/under boxes, how we've performed in against the spread, over/under, and straight-up picks from those specific games where we were predicting between a 50 and a 55% confidence in the straight-up winner to win outright. Most importantly, probably to those out there, would be our against the spread and over/under performance. In this case, you can look at the actual spreads to see how we perform in certain situations. Now, this is an absolute value number that is related to just the number of the spread. If the favorite happens to be a 7-point favorite, that number would be denoted by 7. If you want to see how we perform in games between 7 and 10, where the favorite is favored in that line, or the underdog is an underdog by that line, you can do so by this, by noting this here. It's just the absolute value spread of what you should be expecting there. And at any point, if you select any, that will include all of them starting with 0 and up until the number that you select. So any to 3.5 would still do from 0 to 3.5. Predicted side for favorite and underdog or home and away. This is for our expectations. Are we predicting the favorite to cover or the underdog to cover? Are we predicting the home team or the away team to cover? Any of these restrictions that you place on it, for instance, if you place 2 of them on it, this would be what is our accuracy in all of the games in which we're predicting the home favorite to cover. This is any game too, so this is beyond anything that's 53% or 52.5% or so, beyond that. And without ignoring over/under and straight up, you will still also get our over/under and straight up performance from those specific games. We'll remove those restrictions and look at play type. Play type, I think most people are familiar with through the site, but this is any, so this is any performance, including the ones that we would call as a no pick, where the favorite covers 50% or above. Obviously, that's going to happen, or at least our predicted pick covers 50% or above. Playable, which is in this case considered 53% or above. Weak, which is 53% to 57. Now, if this note here is greater than or equal to, and we've selected playable and weak, those will be the same options. But if you select this and set this to equal, and set it to week, that will only return 53 to 57% confidence in our against the spread cover percentage. Switching that back to normal, which would be 57% to 62%, 2x, which is 62 to 65, and 3x, which is above 65%, and we have not yet seen actually in the NFL or college football so far, would be in the 2011 season would be displayed here. Now, lock of the week and Paul's picks are also noted on the site within the picks as our top plays of the week for lock of the week against the number, and our Paul's picks, which are the top 3 Saturday and Sunday picks from each respective sport against the spread, our top weekday play from college football, and the Monday night play. Over-under is fairly similar. Let's set this back to any, though, and quickly address the predicted side against the spread percentage. If you don't like those exact options here, you can look at other options such as, let's say, above 60%. Setting this from 60 to any, or really in this case from 60 to 75 would be fine as well because we haven't generated percentages above that, would allow you to see the results in any game in which we're predicting our team to cover the spread 60% of the time or more. Similar options here for over-under and against the spread, but I'll go through those quickly. The lines are, in this case, the actual value of the line, and you have a range that you can set that are different from college football and the NFL. Predicted total, this is if we're saying that the pick should go over or under. You can leave that set to any. Play type, which is the same as above, though there are no Paul's picks or locks of the week because those do not apply to the over-under. And then the cover percentage options is shown above. Let's just choose an option here to look at ignoring our over/under and our straight-up performance, and looking specifically at our Paul's picks for the week. You can see as of this specific time that I'm running this, doing a search for those games will only yield the option where you see those games, those 24 games so far, where we've accurately predicted 19 out of those 24. Now, if you don't ignore over/under and straight-up percentage, you will see that we've hit 17 of 24 of those. And our performance actually over/under hasn't been nearly as good as against the spread in those games, but that is any, so that doesn't necessarily account for those in which the over/under was unplayable. You can see here from the TrendFinder then there's many different ways that you can search for items, pinpointing exactly what you want or broadening the scope to see what possibly could be occurring and what types of performance you're interested in looking at. This is a very valuable tool for us and for you guys out there. If you happen to see something that you think might be an issue or might be a place in which we're either performing far above expectations or far below expectations, we'd love to hear from you. By no means do we consider our engines absolutely perfect, and we're always interested in any options that we have, any areas in which we perform much better or much worse than usual, and how we might be able to address those in our engine to either make the rest of the engine perform at that level if it's better, or to improve that part of the engine if there are certain circumstances. So if you happen to see something through the TrendFinder that you think is worth noting for our attention, please send us a note through customer support there, and we'd be glad to at least look into it for you. We've used this tool pretty extensively recently to do some similar things, but opening this up to everybody I think will allow us to look even deeper into that.